Sometimes in life, we hold on to things long after they've served their purpose. People, expectations, pain, or memories. We cling to them as if letting go means losing a part of ourselves. But letting go does not mean losing yourself. It means finding yourself again beneath the weight of everything you were never meant to carry. Letting go is not weakness, it's wisdom. It's understanding that peace is not found in controlling what happens, but in surrendering what you cannot change. Many times, we think holding on makes us strong, but real strength lies in releasing what breaks you silently, in trusting that life still has beauty even after the storm. The truth is, we grow attached to people, places, moments, because they once made us feel alive. But life is not meant to be a photograph. It's a movie that keeps moving forward. When we freeze a moment, we freeze our growth. And when we resist change, we resist our own evolution. There will be times when you have to walk away, not because you stopped caring, but because you finally love yourself enough to choose peace over chaos. You will lose some people, but you'll gain your clarity. You'll lose control, but you'll find your calm. You'll lose the old version of yourself, but you'll meet the wiser, freer you on the other side. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting. It means remembering without pain. It's when your memories no longer pull you backward, but teach you to stand taller. It's when your past becomes a teacher, not a trap. So, breathe. Don't rush your healing. Detach with love, forgive with grace, and move on with faith. What is meant for you will never require you to lose yourself to keep it. Sometimes the best thing you can do is to let go, not to give up, but to grow up. And when you finally do, you'll realize that you were never losing yourself in the process of letting go. You were simply coming home to who you truly are. Letting go is not losing yourself. It's rediscovering yourself. When we hold on too tightly to people, situations, or outcomes, we begin to lose sight of who we truly are. We mold ourselves to fit into circumstances that no longer serve our peace. We silence our intuition just to maintain a sense of belonging or control. Over time, the weight of holding on starts to blur the edges of our identity. We forget the sound of our own heart because we're too busy trying to hear someone else's. Letting go, in its truest form, is an act of returning, a return to the quiet voice inside that has always known what is right for us, even when we chose to ignore it. When something or someone becomes a part of our story, we often mistake them for our identity. We start to define ourselves through their presence, their validation, their importance in our lives. And when it's time to release them, we panic. We fear that without them, we will lose ourselves. But the truth is, you were whole long before they arrived. They were a chapter, not the entire book. Letting go allows you to turn the page and meet yourself again in a new season, stronger, softer, and more self-aware. It's not about erasing the past. It's about integrating it and growing beyond it. There's a certain peace that comes when you stop chasing what's not meant for you. you begin to realize that the love, approval, and security you were searching for outside have always been within. When you let go, you start to reconnect with that inner strength. You start to notice that the same power that once helped you survive heartbreak, disappointment, and uncertainty is still alive inside you. You remember that your worth is not determined by who stays or who leaves, by what succeeds or what fails. Your worth is constant. It does not fluctuate with the tides of circumstance. Rediscovering yourself through letting go means learning to love your solitude again. It means listening to your thoughts without judgment, giving yourself the grace to heal, and allowing space for new dreams to take shape. Sometimes, in the stillness that follows release, you meet a version of yourself you had long forgotten, the one who laughs easily, the one who dreams without fear, the one who is content just to be. That rediscovery is sacred. It's the moment when you stop living in reaction to the world and start living in connection with your own spirit. Letting go also teaches you that you don't have to chase closure from others. You can create it within yourself. You don't need an apology to make peace with the past. You don't need a perfect ending to move forward. You can honor what was, learn from it, and still choose to evolve because letting go is not about forgetting who you were. It's about remembering who you are beneath the layers of attachment, expectation, and pain. It's a process of peeling back what life has added so that your soul can breathe freely again. When you finally release what's weighing you down, you feel a lightness that words can hardly describe. The world doesn't change, but your relationship with it does. You begin to see beauty where you once saw burden. You start to trust that everything you need will find you in its own time. You no longer grasp out of fear. You open your hands in faith. And in that openness, you rediscover the most beautiful truth. You never truly lost yourself You just needed to let go long enough to find your way back home. We often confuse holding on with strength, thinking that endurance and attachment are the same as courage. But there are moments in life when holding on does not make us strong. It only makes us tired. We cling to things, people, and situations because we fear the uncertainty that comes with release. We tell ourselves that if we just try harder, love more, or wait longer, things will change. Yet deep down, we know that not everything we hold on to is meant to stay. The real strength is not found in the grip of our hands, but in the openness of our hearts. The courage to let go when holding on is silently breaking us from within. It takes far more bravery to release something that has become familiar than to keep struggling with it. Familiarity often disguises itself as comfort, but comfort is not always peace. Sometimes the things we hold on to are the very things that keep us stuck. The relationship that drains you, the job that suffocates your purpose, the regret that steals your present, they all create invisible chains. And we mistake these chains for loyalty, duty, or love. But true strength lies in recognizing when something has reached its end and having the inner courage to say, I deserve peace more than this. When we refuse to let go, we often live in emotional exhaustion. We wake up carrying yesterday's pain and tomorrow's fear, hoping something external will change to make it all better. But life doesn't work that way. The longer we hold on, the heavier it gets. The universe has a gentle way of reminding us that we cannot carry everything. The more we resist change, the more we suffer. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means understanding that your energy, your love, and your time are sacred. And anything that costs you your inner peace is too expensive to keep. True strength is quiet. It doesn't shout or demand recognition. It's in the silent decision to release what hurts, even when your heart still cares. It's in the moment you choose to stop explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. It's in walking away from places where you've been tolerated and not appreciated. It's in forgiving yourself for staying too long and finding the wisdom in that experience. Strength is not about how tightly you can hold on. It's about how gracefully you can let go. When you finally summon that strength, a strange calm enters your life. You stop forcing things to work and start allowing life to flow. You begin to trust that endings are not failures but redirections. You understand that some doors punish you, but to protect you from what no longer aligns with your growth. The storm that once terrified you becomes the wind that carries you to a better place. Letting go becomes an act of love. Love for your own well-being, love for your future, love for the person you are becoming. It's realizing that strength is not found in resistance but in acceptance. You no longer define yourself by what you can endure, but by what you choose to release. You begin to see that strength is not about how much pain you can hold, but how much peace you can create. And in that awareness, you transform. You stand taller, breathe easier, and feel lighter. Because in the end, strength is not in holding on to what's breaking you. It's in releasing it, healing from it, and moving forward with grace. Letting go means trusting the flow of life. And this trust is one of the deepest spiritual lessons we ever learn. So often, we believe that we are in control, that if we plan carefully, work hard, and hold tightly, life will unfold exactly the way we want. But life has its own rhythm, a divine flow that carries us through both calm waters and wild waves. When we try to fight against that current, we exhaust ourselves. We become anxious, fearful, and frustrated because things are not happening according to our timeline. Trusting the flow means surrendering that control, not as a form of defeat, but as an act of faith in something larger than ourselves. There are moments when everything seems uncertain, when doors we were sure would open suddenly close, and the people we thought would stay quietly walk away. It's in those moments that trust becomes the bridge between where you are and where you are meant to be. Life doesn't always make sense in the present. It often reveals its purpose only in hindsight. When you trust the flow, you stop demanding that everything be clear right now. You allow time to do its work. You begin to understand that some delays are not denials. They are divine redirections meant to protect or prepare you for something greater. Trusting the flow of life does not mean being passive. It means aligning your actions with faith rather than fear. You still move forward, but you do so with an open heart and a peaceful mind. You no longer chase outcomes. You cultivate readiness. You stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What is this trying to teach me?" That simple shift transforms your perspective. Suddenly, every challenge becomes a teacher. Every ending becomes a seed for a new beginning. And every unanswered prayer becomes a whisper that something better is on its way. It takes humility to accept that you are not the ultimate author of every chapter. Some things will unfold beyond your understanding, and that's okay. Trusting the flow is about surrendering your need to control every detail and embracing the wisdom of timing. Just as a river doesn't rush to reach the ocean, you too must learn to move at the pace that life requires. When you push too hard, you stir unnecessary turbulence. But when you allow, when you breathe, when you release your resistance, you discover that life has always been guiding you exactly where you needed to go. Many people fear surrender because they confuse it with helplessness. But surrender is not weakness. It is strength disguised in softness. It is the courage to let life unfold without demanding constant proof that everything will be okay. It is trusting that even when you can't see the path ahead, there is still a path. It's believing that what is meant for you will not pass you by, even if it takes a little longer to arrive. When you learn to trust the flow, your inner world transforms. You stop living with tension and start living with trust. You stop forcing and start flowing. You stop panicking over what you can't control and start focusing on what you can. Your attitude, your faith, and your peace. You learn to let life move through you rather than against you. And in that flow, you find a freedom that no amount of control could ever give. You begin to see that life was never something to conquer. It was something to dance with, gracefully, faithfully, and with open hands. You can care deeply and still choose peace. One of the hardest lessons to learn in life is that love and letting go can exist together. We often believe that caring for someone means we must hold on, fight endlessly, and sacrifice our own well-being just to keep the connection alive. But genuine love is not about attachment. It's about respect, freedom, and peace. When you truly care for someone, you want the best for them, even if that best no longer includes you. Choosing peace doesn't mean you stopped caring. It means you finally understand that your mental and emotional health deserve the same level of love you once gave to others. There are moments when your heart still aches for what once was, but deep down, you know staying in that place would destroy you. You can still wish someone well while walking away. You can still love someone and understand that love alone is not enough to make things work. When peace becomes your priority, your decisions shift. You stop fighting battles that only drain you. You stop trying to fix what refuses to change. You stop begging for understanding from people who are not willing to listen. You begin to realize that your peace is too sacred to be constantly disrupted by the chaos of others. Caring deeply means feeling everything intensely. The joy, the pain, the longing. But choosing peace means creating boundaries around your heart so that it can stay open without being broken again and again. It's about knowing that you can show compassion without being consumed. Many people confuse kindness with self-sacrifice. But there is a difference between giving love and losing yourself in it. You are not meant to be a constant source of healing for others while neglecting your own. Peace is not selfish. It is self-preservation. It's choosing to be calm in a world that thrives on noise and drama. When you choose peace over chaos, something shifts within you. You begin to see relationships differently. You stop chasing closure from those who left and stop waiting for validation from those who never saw your worth. You realize that peace does not come from changing others, but from understanding your own boundaries. You can forgive without returning. You can be grateful for the memories without reopening the wounds. You can love from a distance and still be kind. That's maturity. The ability to hold compassion in your heart while keeping your distance from what disrupts your peace. There is great strength in being able to walk away gracefully. It doesn't mean you are cold or unfeeling. It means you have learned to value your peace more than the need to prove your love. You recognize that caring too much for someone who continuously brings chaos into your life only leads to exhaustion. When you choose peace, you stop chasing storms and start building calm within yourself. You learn that not every connection deserves a lifetime, and not every story needs to continue. Choosing peace doesn't make you heartless, it makes you wise. It means you have finally learned the difference between love that grows you and love that drains you. You begin to focus your energy on things that nourish your soul. Silence, gratitude, simplicity, and people who bring out your best self. You start realizing that peace is the highest form of love you can give yourself. Because in the end, no matter how deeply you care, you cannot heal in places that constantly hurt you. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do for yourself and for others is to walk away quietly with peace in your heart and no resentment in your soul. Pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. Every person on this journey of life will encounter pain. It's part of being human. We feel pain when we lose someone we love, when our dreams collapse, when life doesn't unfold the way we imagined. Pain comes uninvited and unavoidable. It knocks on every door at some point. But suffering is the story we tell ourselves after pain has already done its job. It's the replaying of what went wrong, the endless questioning of why me, and the refusal to release what has already passed. While pain is a moment, suffering is a choice we continue to make long after the moment is gone. Life is not meant to be free of pain. In fact, pain is one of our greatest teachers. It humbles us, softens our hearts, and gives depth to our understanding. Pain reminds us of what truly matters. It awakens empathy and compassion within us. But when we cling to pain, when we let it define us, it becomes suffering. Suffering begins when we start identifying ourselves with our wounds. We start saying, I am broken, instead of, I was hurt. That small shift in language shows how we allow pain to become part of our identity rather than a passing experience meant to help us grow. Every painful experience has two roads. One leads to wisdom, the other to bitterness. The choice is ours. When we resist the lessons pain brings, we get stuck in a cycle of suffering. We replay the past in our minds, hoping for a different ending, when the truth is that healing begins only when we stop looking backward. The past cannot be changed, but it can be understood. And through that understanding, pain loses its power to control us. We begin to see that every heartbreak, every disappointment, every fall carried a hidden seed of growth. The question is not whether we will face pain, but what we will allow it to make of us. Pain visits to show us that something within needs attention, something we've ignored, something that needs to evolve. When we listen to the message, instead of resenting the messenger, pain becomes a guide. It shows us where to set boundaries, where to heal, where to let go. But if we choose to hold on to it, if we continue to feed it with our thoughts, it turns into suffering that drains our energy and blinds our vision. We begin to live in fear instead of faith, in regret instead of gratitude. Letting go of suffering doesn't mean pretending the pain never happened. It means accepting it feeling it fully, and then releasing it with forgiveness and understanding. It's about saying, yes, that hurt me, but it doesn't have to define me. When we allow ourselves to experience pain without resistance, it moves through us like a wave, intense at first, but eventually passing, leaving behind clarity and calm. But when we fight it, when we resist it, it stays, festers, and becomes suffering. Freedom begins the moment you realize that you can't always control what happens to you, but you can control how you respond to it. You can choose peace even in the middle of pain. You can choose to learn instead of resent. You can choose to move forward instead of staying trapped in what could have been. Pain shapes us, but suffering is something we shape ourselves. When you stop feeding the story of your pain and start focusing on the strength it gave you, you stop being a victim and start becoming a victor. And that's when pain transforms from a wound into wisdom, from a burden into a blessing. Forgiveness is the bridge to freedom. It is one of the most powerful yet misunderstood acts of the human spirit. We often think forgiveness means excusing the hurt, erasing the memory, or pretending it never happened. But true forgiveness is not about the other person. It's about liberating yourself from the weight of resentment that keeps you tied to the past. It's about choosing peace over poison. When we hold on to anger, bitterness, or the desire for revenge, we think we are protecting ourselves, but in truth, we are only prolonging our pain. The energy we invest in resentment becomes a chain that keeps us from moving forward. Forgiveness is the key that breaks that chain, allowing our hearts to breathe freely again. When someone hurts us deeply, it leaves an emotional wound. And like any wound, it needs care to heal. But many people never allow that healing to begin because they keep reopening the wound through memories, through blame, through hatred. They wait for an apology that may never come, or for the other person to feel the same pain they caused. But holding on to anger does not heal us. It drains us. Forgiveness, on the other hand, is an act of self-love. It is saying, I refuse to carry this pain any longer. It doesn't mean you condone what happened. It means you value your peace more than your need for justice. Forgiveness is not always easy. It's not a single decision. It's a process, a gradual untying of emotional knots. Sometimes you'll think you've forgiven, but a memory will surface and the pain will return. That's okay. Healing is not linear. Each time you choose to let go a little more, you are reclaiming a piece of your power. With every step, the bitterness fades and your heart grows lighter. You realize that forgiveness is not forgetting, it's remembering without hatred. It's being able to think of what happened without it controlling your emotions anymore. We also forget that forgiveness includes ourselves. Often, we are harshest toward the person in the mirror. We replay our mistakes, our regrets, and our failures, punishing ourselves long after others have moved on. But you cannot grow while holding yourself hostage to the past. You must give yourself the same grace you would offer someone you love. Forgiving yourself doesn't erase accountability. It allows you to learn and move forward without shame. You cannot pour from an empty cup, and you cannot live freely while drowning in self-blame. When you practice forgiveness, you shift your focus from pain to peace, from resentment to release. You start to understand that every hurt you've endured was part of a greater lesson, one that shaped your strength and deepened your compassion. Forgiveness transforms wounds into wisdom and pain into purpose. It's the bridge that carries you from the darkness of anger to the light of understanding. It doesn't require reconciliation, it only requires release. Imagine carrying a heavy stone everywhere you go. Over time, you grow used to its weight, thinking it's just part of life. But once you set it down, you realize how light you could have felt all along. That's what forgiveness does. It unburdens the soul. It allows you to move freely, to love again, to trust again, and most importantly, to live again. It is not a favor you do for others. It is a gift you give yourself. When you forgive, you close one painful chapter and open space for joy, healing, and new beginnings. Because true freedom doesn't come from changing the past, it comes from releasing it. Detachment is not coldness, it's clarity. So many people mistake detachment for indifference, as if letting go of emotional attachment means you stop caring. But true detachment is not about building walls around your heart. It's about removing the unhealthy ties that keep your peace hostage. It's about seeing things clearly without being clouded by the storms of emotion. Detachment doesn't mean you love less, it means you love wisely. It allows you to stay calm when life becomes chaotic, to act from understanding rather than impulse, and to remain balanced even when the world tries to shake you. When you are attached to outcomes, people, or situations, your happiness becomes conditional. You start to depend on how things turn out, on how people treat you, or on whether life follows your plan. That dependency leads to suffering, because life will not always go as you want it to. Detachment brings freedom. It teaches you to engage with life fully, but without clinging to results. It's learning to give your best effort, and then letting go of the need to control what happens next. When you act from detachment, you find peace in knowing that you did your part, and the rest is in the hands of time, destiny, or a higher plan. Emotional attachment often blurs our vision. We begin to see people not as they are, but as we wish them to be. We overlook red flags, justify pain, and confuse attachment with love. Detachment clears that fog. It allows you to see reality as it is, not as your emotions want it to be. When you detach, you stop expecting others to fulfill your emotional voids. You begin to understand that everyone is on their own journey, and not all journeys are meant to align with yours forever. You can appreciate people for what they bring into your life without demanding that they stay forever. That's not indifference, that's maturity. Practicing detachment doesn't mean withdrawing from life or avoiding emotions. It means mastering them. You can feel love deeply without letting it consume your sense of self. You can care for others without losing your peace over their choices. You can be present in relationships, jobs, and experiences while understanding that all things are temporary. Detachment is what allows you to stay centered amid uncertainty. It's what keeps your heart open, but your boundaries firm. You learn to flow with life instead of resisting it, to hold what's good with gratitude and release what's gone with grace. The beauty of detachment lies in the balance it creates. It teaches you to be involved, but not entangled, committed, but not controlled. It helps you understand that your emotions are visitors, not rulers. When something goes wrong, you don't collapse. You observe, you learn, and you move forward. Detachment gives you the strength to walk away from what no longer serves you without bitterness. It teaches you that peace doesn't depend on everything going right. It depends on your ability to stay calm when things go wrong. In truth, detachment is love in its purest form. It is loving without possession, caring without control, and giving without expecting anything in return. When you master detachment, you begin to experience life more fully because you're no longer afraid of loss. You see everything as part of a larger journey. Every person, every moment, every experience coming and going at the right time. Detachment doesn't make you distant. It makes you aware. It doesn't make you numb, it makes you wise. And in that wisdom, you discover that peace was never about holding on tightly. It was about learning when to hold and when to let go with grace. Letting go creates space for growth. In life, growth and release are deeply connected. One cannot happen without the other. Just as a tree must shed its old leaves to welcome new ones, we too must learn to let go of the things and beliefs that no longer nurture our spirit. But many of us cling to what's familiar because it feels safe, even when it's suffocating us. We hold on to the past out of fear of the unknown, not realizing that what feels comfortable is often what keeps us from evolving. True growth begins when you create space in your heart, your mind, and your life for something new to take root. Every ending, no matter how painful, holds within it a seed of beginning. But that new beginning cannot sprout if we keep cluttering our lives with what's already over. When we refuse to let go, we crowd our inner world with memories, attachments, and emotions that drain our energy. It's like trying to plant a garden in soil filled with old roots. The new cannot flourish until the old is cleared. Growth demands space, and space requires courage. The courage to release what once felt essential, to walk away from what no longer serves your purpose, and to trust that letting go does not mean losing everything, but making room for something greater. Often we think we're afraid of change, but what we truly fear is emptiness. We fear that if we let go of someone or something, we'll be left with nothing. But that emptiness isn't a void. It's a sacred space for transformation. It's where healing begins, where new dreams are born, where a stronger version of yourself starts to take shape. Growth doesn't happen when life is full. It happens when there's room to breathe, reflect, and rebuild. So, instead of fearing the space that letting go creates, learn to honor it. It's the pause before your next chapter, the silence before the music begins again. Letting go also teaches you to trust life's natural rhythm. You start to understand that not everything is meant to stay forever. Some people are lessons. Some opportunities are stepping stones. And some experiences are temporary mirrors, reflecting who you were at a certain moment in time. When you cling to what's meant to pass, you block what's meant to come. Growth requires movement, an ebb and flow, a constant renewal. The more you release, the lighter you become, and the lighter you are, the easier it is to rise. When you begin creating space for growth, you start to attract what aligns with your new energy. The relationships you form become healthier because they are built on peace, not dependency. The choices you make become wiser because they come from clarity, not fear. You stop settling for what is familiar and start pursuing what is fulfilling. You learn that you cannot pour new wisdom into an old mindset, nor can you live your future while holding on to your past. Letting go, then, is not just about loss, it's about transformation. It's about making room for your evolution. It's trusting that every release, no matter how painful, is a sacred invitation to grow into your higher self. You begin to realize that life doesn't take things away to punish you. It clears them away to prepare you. Growth isn't about adding more to your life. It's about removing what's unnecessary so that what's truly meant for you has space to bloom. In that space, you rediscover yourself wiser, lighter, and more open to the beautiful possibilities that await